Good day. This is Lateesha with Soul Spread Wisdom. And today I want to talk about Chiron, the mythology of Chiron. And then I also want to talk about what happens with the placement of Chiron in our natal charts and what it means for us. And this is based on the teaching of astrologer Tom Jacobs. He has done tremendous work on Chiron. He's written books and has training courses on healing Chiron, and this work has been truly profound for me. So I wanted to just bring it forward and share it here on my podcast. So the Greek mythology of Chiron. So Saturn is Chiron's father, and Phileria, the nymph, is Chiron's mother. So as it happens, one day Saturn was in the woods and he saw this beautiful nymph, Phileria, so he wanted to have her. He wanted to have sex with her. And he began to chase her. She transformed herself into a horse so that she would have more strength and more power to be able to escape Saturn's chase. And Saturn transformed himself into a horse. He caught up with her and he raped her. And out of this rape, she bore Chiron. When Chiron was born, she saw him, that he was a centaur, and she was repulsed by him. And said, "What is this? Get this away from me. This is a monster." And she abandoned and rejected Chiron. Now, Chiron was raised by Apollo up in the mountains. And as he grew, it turned out that he was absolutely brilliant. He was brilliant with working with the herbs. He understood how to turn the herbs into medicine. He was an apothecary and a pharmacist in our modern terms. And Chiron was also a brilliant teacher of archery and warfare, but he was still unacceptable in a sense. He was on the fringes. He was never one who would be a part of the popular crowd. He, as it stands, his original appearance, which we find in the artwork, was that he was not even like the regular centaurs. The normal centaurs had, the bottom part of their body was that of a horse, and then the top portion, the torso up, the head and arms, were that of a man. Well, with Chiron, his front two legs and the front portion of his body was that of a man, and then the rear part of him was that of a horse. So with that, he didn't fit in with the humans, and he didn't fit in with the centaurs. So he was one who was, on the edges and on the fringes and really ostracized in most areas. But his unique brilliance that he had, his unique gifts and talents, caused him to be able to serve people in a very powerful way. So as the story continues, Chiron had a second wound. So his first wound was, of course, that of the rejection of his mother. Well, the second wound was that one day he was, there was some poison that was on a tip of an arrow. Now, the story of how he was stuck in the leg with the arrow, it does change. So one story says that Hercules accidentally shot him in the leg, and then another one says that he was creating a cure for someone, and then he accidentally punctured himself in the leg. But however it happened, he received some poison in his leg via an arrow, and he tried to heal himself from the wound but he could not heal himself. The poison, because he was immortal as a god, he could not heal, and he suffered day in and day out, and he wanted to die but could not. And he tried every herb he knew to heal his leg, and every healing treatment that he was able to use on other people, but it would not heal. And ultimately, being the servant that he was and the very tender and kind-hearted person that he was, he volunteered to take the place of another god, Prometheus, who had stolen fire from the gods and given it to the humans. And he was being punished daily by having his liver eaten out by a vulture. And each day the liver would grow back, and it would be eaten out every day, grow back, eaten out every day. But Prometheus could not die. So Chiron took the place of Prometheus and became mortal at that point. And after his liver was eaten out, he died. And Zeus caused him to be a constellation in the sky. So this is the mythology of Chiron. So we have Chiron in our natal charts, somewhere in our natal charts. It could stand alone. It could be making aspects to other planets or other points in the chart, the ascendant, descendant, ascendant, midheaven, or the IC. It could be conjunct the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus. Of course, it could be in any of the various houses. And the house placement and the sign placement will tell us where the wound is in our charts, where we are most sensitive, where we have experienced a wound from early childhood, and this wound has us in a place of oversensitivity. So we all have this, but some people are affected more deeply by it based on whether it is conjunct a personal planet or if it is on one of the sensitive points or house cusp, the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 7th, or MC or the IC. And so these placements in particular can have a deep effect on how we exhibit our talents in the particular house and particular sign placement to the world. So I'm just going to leave this mythology here, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a podcast for each sign placement for Chiron. Thank you for listening. My name is Lateesha Hinton.